Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Robert Jones, and I'm here with my friend Jack Caraselli.
Hello.
And we are talking about politics in the introduction to our Fruitfully Honest podcast.
Yeah, this podcast is going to be mainly covering like big topics. It's going to blanket large things, and we'd like to cover everything in those big topics, go into smaller subtopics about that. And the thing behind it is we want to be unfiltered and just fruitfully honest. That's where the name comes from. So that's why.
You know, Jack, I think you are spot on. I think people are tired of hearing this fake truthfulness and honesty that people are trying to convey to them. So we're going to try to do something where we can just be as honest and as bold as possible. So
bold's a good word.
So today we're talking about politics, and specifically in politics, we're going to be covering the 2016 presidential election and the Paris attacks out in Paris. So, Jack, what do you think about what's going on with this whole 2016 election?
I think for me it's more important. This is going to be the first year I can vote because I'm going to be 18 when the election actually happens. So I've been, like in the past elections, I've followed it, but not this far in advance. I followed it the year it happened, but I've been following it now for like a couple years just because I've known that I'm going to get to vote. And I know some Americans don't really care about voting. They don't see that as like a big deal.
You got a point. I think that even though I would not be voting, I think that every person should care about what's going on with their decisions as far as their life and the rules that come around them. And I hear a lot of people talk about like how, oh, well, that's out in Washington, D.C., and we're here in Indianapolis. Like, stuff doesn't affect us. When it actually does affect us every day because we're setting new laws that we have to abide because we're citizens. So I do think that everybody should, pay attention. And I think people should just be honest with themselves and ask, really, is this what's going to benefit myself, my family, and my country? So.
Yeah, I think people have kind of lost not their way, but a lot of people have stopped kind of caring about voting. Yeah. A lot of people think it doesn't make any difference.
And, most people, they make assumptions about, politicians and, say things like, oh, well, all politicians are like scummy and evil. And
out to get you.
Yeah, out to get you and, stuff like that. And that may be true in some instances. I'm not going to lie. But I think that you should still pay attention and, vote for who you think is the best candidate, the most qualified person in general. So.
Yeah, and I know, I think we should talk about what we think makes a good president or a successful president.
Yep.
I know what Bill Clinton, at the beginning of his office, he said he wanted to replicate what John F. Kennedy did.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know exactly what it takes to be a good president, just because there's so many things that go into it. I think that's the most stressful job you can literally have. So,
well, I think, that's a great question to start off with, seeing that there's, 20 people running for office.
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to run for president, that you should have some government experience, you should have some private sector experience, you should have experience in many different fields and, many different things, and be successful too. That also helps. Don't just be like, a career politician that has like really nothing to
show for.
Right. So, I think you have to be some sort of like qualified in order to, hold the office of president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that kind of leads to Hillary Clinton, because she's been in government for quite a long time.
Yep.
So if we look at it from that perspective, I think she could be a good fit. But also, there's more than just government experience. You have to be able to. You have to have an aura that shows power. I think to other countries, because we're not running a dictatorship, but we also need to. I mean, I don't personally believe that we need to police the whole world.
Yeah.
But I think the national government we want to be the leader of the world,
Yeah.
in a sense. And I think we need somebody in office who isn't necessarily intimidating, but like shows power.
Yeah.
They just look
And see,
like
you
a
know,
leader.
the thing that you mentioned earlier, career politicians. Hillary Clinton has, been around politics since she was, in her teenage years. She used to intern for politicians, and she got a chance to go to the White House when she was in college and stuff like that. And then, she became First Lady of Arkansas, the United States, and then she became a senator. And then recently, up to 2013, she was the Secretary of State.
Right.
And, I think there is that debate where you have too much political experience, and, it's good to know, political stuff, but, you should have some sort of real world experience. So.
Yeah, I think world experience is a good thing, too. I think political experience is always good because it's politics and you have to know how to carry yourself. But I think world experience is good too. One of my things that I didn't like about George W. Bush is before he was president, I don't believe that he ever actually traveled the world. I don't even think he ever had been to Canada before he was elected president. And that's not a huge deal, but if you're going to run a country that has huge foreign relations, I think you have to have some experience being in the places you're going to be working with.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you make. But, also I think, that what makes a good president is not having too much, how do I say, controversy, under your belt. Situations where you either lied or you did something wrong where it hurt people or the country. I think that you should have a pretty clean record as far as the decisions that you've made in the past and your decisions with the country and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and along those lines, with that outline, Hillary Clinton's not the best option with the email scandal. I haven't read into that much, but if you're lying about emails and they find them, I don't think that's a very good thing.
Yeah, and kind of even the fact that you're under this much scrutiny for these issues, it's kind of pretty bad. So, what do you think about Donald Trump?
Oh, Donald Trump has been I don't even know what the word is at this point. He's been the love-hate for me this whole campaign so far. I think he's somewhat insensitive about the things he says, and I think that some of the things he says come from an ignorant place.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about him is that he's not a politician in the sense that he doesn't necessarily care what people think about what he has to say. Yeah. He's going to say what's on his mind. He's not going to say what he thinks the public wants to hear.
And, I think that's kind of what America, the reason why he's gained so much support is because the Americans are tired of, hearing, all these promises and all these different fantasy land ideas that the politicians usually sell to them. And, he's speaking, pretty brutally honest. Fruitfully honest, actually.
Roll credit.
And so, I think I kind of feel two ways about him. One way is I think he would do good as far as the economy and, bringing back jobs and, making it easier for, people who like to start businesses and that kind of stuff. But then, again, I'm not so into his immigration stuff because, I think that everybody should, be able to come over. And I can agree with him. You have to be legal, not illegal when you come over.
Right.
I think that makes a big difference. And people don't like to talk about the fact that there's more people here legally than illegally. And, he just wants to get rid of the ones that don't have their paperwork. He doesn't really care about the ones who have all their paperwork, they pay their taxes, they're not leeches on the government, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, I think America's always been the melting pot of the world. But I think it's also, I don't think he's necessarily against immigration. I mean, some of the things he said about the Syrian refugees was a little bit weird. But I think for him to say that we don't want people coming here is a little bit ignorant just because of the fact that, I don't know, a couple hundred years ago when the Americans got here
Yeah.
and we just stole the land basically.
And, you know, this whole fact of, well, I don't want all these people coming here, it really doesn't make sense because our country was founded on, you know, principles where you can come over here and, you know, you can have a better life. I think that everybody should be able to have that better life, and you shouldn't be denied based on your skin color, your religion, or anything like that. So,
Yeah, I think I just every time I say Donald Trump's name, I sigh just because there's just so many things about him that I don't like, and there's so many things about him that I like. And I mean, I don't want to say I would vote for him, but like, and I don't want to say that I think it's what the U.S. needs is to have this sort of change, but I would be interested to see like what would happen. And I wish we could. I've
like Bernie
always
Sanders.
right. I've always thought about. I think our presidency is with the 4-year terms. I wish there was some way to like. I mean, this is. I don't know. There was a comedian who said this. I think it was Cat Williams, but he said data president for a couple months and see how it goes. I think there should be some sort of trial period, just because. You know, they say whatever they want in the campaign. They're obviously going to say whatever they can to get you to vote for them. And I think there should be some sort of way, if we vote for them and they're not coming through, or they're just completely different than what we thought they were going to be, I think there should be a way to go back on that.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like Bernie Sanders. Like, you know, you make all these promises and, you know, the financial analysis people have said that his plan, you know, wants to spend like $18 trillion over the next 10 years if he gets elected next year. So, like, you know, that's not practical. Like, you can make all these promises, but when you get in office, you have to run this stuff by people. Like, you have to send your stuff to the other branches of the government to get it approved and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, I think that you should make reasonable promises, but not, you know, like these fantasy land promises.
Yeah, I mean, I think Barack Obama's campaign was a little bit vague and far-fetched, just because his whole campaign revolved around the word hope, or
change.
Yeah, change in the first one, hope in the second one. And I think that's kind of a cop-out, to be honest, because I think he didn't really have a huge plan, but he rallied everybody after the recession by the whole hope thing, and like, we can do this, make a better, you know.
You know, let's bring this fruitfully honest point up. I'm not saying that this is the main reason, but I'm saying that this is one of the reasons. He did get elected because of his race. Being African American, there was a bias towards him with people, and you know, I kind of see it from people that I've heard of the Caucasian persuasion. You know, a lot of people felt like they had to vote for him because, well, if we don't, then we're kind of racist. If we do, then it makes us look better. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it's necessarily the number one reason, but I do think it went into it.
I think that we've, talked about the election in full. So till next time, wish you love, peace, and soul. Peace.